Let's jump right into it. If you're following AI right now, you are probably seeing headlines about the newest, biggest, fastest models every single day. But what if we've been completely obsessing over the wrong layer of the tech entirely? Seriously, today we're doing a quick explainer on the actual data infrastructure that autonomous systems need to, actually function in the real world. We're going to look at why current systems are failing and how this idea of verifiable trust is literally rewriting the rulebook.
Okay, let's bust a massive misconception right out of the gate. AI models, they are not the foundation of artificial intelligence. I mean, when we talk about the future of tech, the models completely dominate the conversation, right? The massive neural networks, the parameters, the billions of dollars spent on compute. We treat these algorithms like they're the roads and bridges of the new digital economy. But the source material we're looking at today points out a pretty stark reality: they aren't. Actually, scratch that, they're more like the engines. And an engine, no matter how crazy powerful or sophisticated it is completely useless without the right fuel. It's like building a massive, beautiful skyscraper on a literal swamp. The foundation is eventually going to give way.
So there's this really stark contrast between the myth we've been sold and the reality on the ground. The myth? Well, it's this idea that if we just build a smarter model or a slightly faster algorithm, boom, all our autonomous system problems are solved. The reality, though, is that the true infrastructure, the actual load-bearing walls of AI, is the quality of the data underneath those models. Look, autonomous agents don't just magically know things. They learn from data. If that underlying data layer is fragile, or biased, or just unverified, the whole system built on top of it is structurally unsound. It's a total 180. We have to shift from this model-centric thinking to data-centric thinking.
Now, what happens when the vital, human element behind all that data is just neglected? Well, you get this terrifying concept called data collapse. We kind of tend to think of data as this abstract digital resource, right? Like it's just floating out there in the ether, waiting to be scraped. But high-quality, nuanced data, that requires actual human beings to painstakingly label and verify it. Think about the invisible army of gig workers spending hours, literally hours, drawing tiny digital boxes around crosswalks and stop signs just so a self-driving car doesn't crash. Data collapse is the unavoidable degradation of that data quality when those human contributors are ignored by the system. It's that moment the well just runs dry because we completely forgot to maintain it.
In this collapse, it doesn't just happen overnight. It actually follows a pretty predictable three-step anatomy. First off, the human contributors are treated as invisible. The folks painstakingly labeling images, correcting metadata, guiding the AI, they are totally hidden behind the curtain. Second, because they're invisible, they're poorly incentivized. It turns into this relentless race to the bottom for cheap data labor, which, no surprise, leads to rushed or just wildly inaccurate work. And third, they are entirely disconnected from the long-term value they're creating. Think about it. If an AI model goes on to generate billions of dollars based on their foundational data work, those invisible contributors see absolutely zero of that upside. Zero. When you have an underpaid workforce with no stake in the outcome, data quality plummets. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out. The whole system just inevitably collapses under its own weight.
So how do we fix it? Well, to stop this collapse, we basically have to flip the script on how we treat human labor. And this is exactly what a system like Codata is doing. Instead of treating human data contributors as totally disposable, Codata integrates them into a network of verifiable trust. All of a sudden, the contributor isn't invisible anymore. They're actively building a lasting reputation based on the accuracy of the data they provide. By getting ongoing value for their metadata, they are finally genuinely connected to the long-term success of the system. It perfectly solves that anatomy of data collapse we were just talking about. It creates a sustainable, high-quality data pipeline simply because the incentives are finally aligned right.
Now, I want to be clear here. This isn't just some feel-good exercise in making data collection fairer. This completely transforms how autonomous systems behave out in the real world. You see, the behavior of any autonomous system is strictly dictated by its inputs, period. When your foundation upgrades from, a shaky swamp of poorly incentivized data to a solid bedrock of verified trust, the AI built on top of it fundamentally changes. You fix the inputs because you can actually trust the data, knowing the contributor's reputation is verified and incentivized. And when that happens, the AI stops guessing and it starts knowing.
Think about current AI as an unpredictable black box. It spits out an answer, but you have absolutely no idea how it got there. And you definitely don't know if the data used was even accurate. You absolutely cannot safely deploy a black box to, say, manage a city's power grid, or handle massive financial transactions, or drive down a crowded street. No way. But when the data infrastructure is built on verifiable trust, these systems become totally reliable and auditable. If an AI makes a critical decision, you can trace that decision all the way down the chain to the trusted, verified data point and to the reputable human who provided it. The black box finally becomes transparent.
When we fix that foundational incentive structure, the ultimate payoff is just massive. Suddenly, AI hallucination rates plummet. We start getting highly reliable outputs instead of, really convincing fictions. And because those processes are fully auditable now, regulators and enterprises can actually trust these systems enough to plug them into critical infrastructure. We get dependable performance that works out in the messy real world, not just in some perfectly controlled lab environment. This is what unlocks the ultimate goal: deploying autonomous agents to support complex, real-world systems at scale. We can only scale these agents when we know for sure the foundation isn't going to collapse underneath them. By solving a data problem at the human level, we're literally unlocking the true potential of AI at the societal level.
So, leaving you with this to think about. The next time you see an incredible new AI model drop, don't just ask how many parameters it has or how blindingly fast it runs. Ask yourself what kind of foundation it's actually built on. When you strip away the flashy model, what is the actual quality of the invisible labor underneath it all? Are the human contributors totally invisible and disconnected, just ticking down the clock toward an inevitable data collapse? Or is the system built on a transparent network of verifiable trust and lasting reputation? Honestly, the answer to that question is exactly what's going to determine which autonomous systems actually survive and thrive out there. Keep questioning the foundations of the tech around you. Catch you next time.